Brown, brown, brown. That damn brown on Cleveland. And Freddie's back. You remember that song called Freddie's Dead? That's what I said. No, Freddie's back in full effect. Yeah, Wednesday evening. Brown on Cleveland and the Little Hut Podcast. Woo! Oh man, it's been quite some time, Miss Freddie, because I've been asleep on Wednesday nights and I'm tired.
It's been a minute, but I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back.
Right,
Whew,
right. I,
yes, hump day, but I'm still glad to be back. I am
yeah, it's a bit crazy. I kid you not.
a bit, to say the least. Like too much going on, unfortunately.
It's been a
Um,
lot going on. A lot going on, and maybe too much. But before we get started, let me do this real quick. Got to say hello to Angie Marie. She's the owner of New Beginnings 1111 Creations. So don't forget if you're looking for shirts, hoodies, jackets, tumblers, mugs, team uniforms, especially because the election is Tuesday, November 4th, and people may be a tad bit chilly. And if they chilly, then of course they can always call her and she'll put together some nice hoodies for them. So all they got to do is call 216-395-7335. And if they're hungry after the polls close, they can always call Rhonda Stubbs over at Flavor Southern Cuisine. And of course, she's located at 12540 Rockside Road, Garfield Heights. And if you know somebody who owns a daycare, Freddie, guess what? Rhonda will cook breakfast, lunch, well, not dinner, but she'll give them a nice little healthy snack. So call her, right? At 216-510-0919. See my glasses. And then, two, let me throw this out. I got to just say hello to Mayor Matt Burke over in Garfield Heights and his re-election team because we know he sponsors Fridays, but today is not Friday. It is Wednesday evening. And I haven't seen you in a while, Freddie.
yeah, life's been life, and
Yeah. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
life is life, and like just a lot going on,
Oh,
and all aspects, and it's like
okay.
the longest twilight zone of our lives. Like it's a never ending episode.
Okay. So now you're going to the Alfred Hitchcock.
You gotta dig deep for this kind of scenarios. This life that we live in right now.
Yeah, it's
So
it's a tad bit crazy, I
yeah,
must say. But listen,
yeah.
with first of all, did you see the video that Hollywood made for me?
I did not. I do
Okay, because
apologize.
you're a hater. You're a straight out hater. So you don't listen to the podcast unless you're on there. Okay, so I will play it during the latter part of the show because it's really nice. It's really, really nice. It's all about
Okay.
shaking your pom poms, shaking your pom poms, shaking your damn pom poms, and
Okay.
letting people know, of course, you don't have to be a star to be on the show. You don't have to be a star, baby, at all, but you got to be.
Bold.
There you go. So listen, tonight, when we come on Wednesdays, we haven't been on in quite a while because I just been tired, man. I've been so tired. I can't wait for this darn campaign season to be over. I mean, I took my mom to the polls the other day, and I didn't vote because I always vote at the polls in Cleveland Ward 1. But she likes to do early voting, so it's pretty interesting. Plus, it was great spending time with oh, that lady. Yeah, absolutely. So listen, tonight I want to actually focus on these young people, these juveniles who commit crime, and sometimes they are held accountable, and sometimes they are not. And as I've been scouring social media, people are very conflicted when it comes to should children be held accountable for their actions? Or is there a better path towards understanding and reform? And I believe this massive conversation came from not just everything that's been going on as far as carjacking and things like that, but came from the little girl, the 5-year old baby who was beaten and raped. I think, what was it, a 9-year old, a 10-year old, 8-year old, 10-year old? I'm not sure. Uh, Males. So a lot of people are up in odds about whether or not these young people should be tried as adults. I have my reservations about a lot. I'm definitely going to add my 10 cents rather than 2 cents. But your thoughts, Brown or Cleveland, inside the little hut, and the chat is open. So we'll take any questions, any comments, any concerns. Brown or Cleveland. Should children be held accountable for their actions? And the other part of this is, should parents be held accountable for the actions of their children? Brown or Cleveland, inside the Little Hut podcast.
So yeah, let me see how I can come at that. So with that question, it's a yes and it's not a either or. It's a and. It's like it needs to be both. Like the part of the reform, the part of the accountability is all of it. It's not we have to do this, you have to do this, and you got to do that, and you got to do that. It's not this one approach is going to resolve that. That particular case is absolutely disturbing. Absolutely disturbing. And to think like they was like the mom knew where the girl who the kids who house she was over and this and that, and it's like I tell people like I remember when I was growing up, my cousins them house like that was the kicking spot, and my mother was very close to their mom, but she would not let me spend her night over there. She wouldn't because it was the spot to be. But I think in this case is something absolutely wrong. It's like I don't know how to try a 8, 9, and a 10-year old as an adult because these children too, have only been on this earth less than a decade, and obviously they have seen and have been exposed to something because you're not born to be at that at any age to be a rapist, to be a sodomizer, to be whatever evil thing you can be. That is what's been poured into you. That's what's been shaped into you. So how do you hold the kids accountable? I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that. I cannot answer that. But I know that there is not a jail that is going to help that situation regarding those kids. And when you lock them up, and at the end of the day, there's still no resources out here for the recklessness of the youth that we have. We don't have true accountability to the parents. Like the parents is with some of these kids, like where are your kids at that you don't know that they got this kind of freedom to move about, and everybody is always not my kid, not my kid, it is somebody kids, and they all
But
among. Go
here's
ahead.
here's the thing. When I'm going down and I'm reading these social media posts because I read a lot and then I Google a lot. I got to do my research. It bothers me when we are always, not me, people are always focused on the perpetrators and we don't consider the victim. I in the mindset that I'm always going to consider the victim first. The victim in that case is 5 years old. I'm going to side with that 5 year old all day long. And it's just very unfortunate. 9, 10, 11, 12, I could care less. If you do something so egregious, then my thought is, and I may get beat up for this and I'm okay with this, you deserve the punishment that is handed down to you because you have destroyed somebody's life. And I think that we should be concerned more about that individual than the perpetrators. It's a story that I read today about some teenagers who were throwing, first they were throwing pebbles over the overpass on a freeway. Then they started throwing chairs. Then they threw a boulder. And when they threw the boulder, when it hit a car, the man crashed into the barrier and he lost his life. And he had a 5 year old and a 3 year old. So the question that's posed to them is, do you charge these teenagers as an adult or do you send them to a juvenile facility where they stay there until they're 21? I'm looking at it from this perspective. That 3 year old and that 5 year old no longer has a father. The teenagers, they knew exactly what they were doing. And I don't care what nobody says. You took a life because of your reckless behavior. The argument is this. Some people are saying in that case, well, if you put them in a facility with adults, wouldn't that cause more harm? I have to be on the side of this. The harm was caused when this man lost his life. The harm was caused when you took the dad away from his 3 and 5 year old. The harm was caused when now wifey don't have husband coming home anymore. So I look at it from the point of view of who has been harmed, who lost their life, who's been traumatized and victimized. Brown or Cleveland.
I get that. I get
No.
your perspective of it. I do. I have a 5 year old granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that wasn't the question that was posed because again,
Mm-mm.
it's multi-layered, and to get into the trauma of the 5 year old,
Yeah.
that's different. That's I'm separating the argument
Okay.
because because we can get into a whole conversation about the victim because that is lifelong trauma that in
Mm-hmm.
therapy that this child is going to have to undergo. I'm compartmentalizing this just for a moment
Okay.
because it's a ripple effect, and I get okay. Let's charge these 8, 9, and 10 year old as adults. So that goes again. It's multi-layered because these are again 8, 9, and 10 year olds.
Mm-hmm.
They're somebody's kids. Somebody has shaped these beings. Somebody has influenced their choices. So accountability needs to be held across the board. And even with the behavior with the teenagers, definitely because now you're at an age where you're a young adult, or you're a teenager, but you're a young adult. And that is a conscientious choice of taking chairs or whatever. You started with something
Yeah.
small and graduating and doing a boulder and knowing that what kind of damage, because that type of crime has been done before, so you know it can cause death and all of that. So if I'm a judge, again, I'm looking at it case by case.
Mm-hmm.
So but again, with the issue with the child here in the situation that happened here in Cleveland with that baby and these other kids, yeah, there again needs to be accountability across the board. There needs
Mhm.
to be investigation, there needs to be psychoanalysis, there needs to be a multi-layered approach other than, yeah, let's just charge them and this and that, because it's always let's lock them up, let's do this, let's throw money at making the community safer. And at the end of the day, there's no real conversations on actually how you get to the root of what's causing all of a lot of this. In the driving forces, poverty and ignorance and all of these things, and no resources are being put into that. No accountability is put into the parents.
Okay.
So
So there's an argument on the table that says this. If people believe that the young people, and I'm gonna say 10 and under, they don't deserve a harsh punishment, although I stand against that. They're saying then the punishment should happen, or the parents should be the individuals who are required to serve the consequences and the total punishment for what their young people have done. So, in other words, let's say you were going to give, if this person was 18 and, and he was going to get 15, 20 years, they're saying that the parent should have some shared responsibility to do those 15 or 20 years. And they also saying this, it doesn't matter whether or not the dad was in the house or the mother was in the house because it take two. So they're talking about both parents. It doesn't matter if they're divorced. It doesn't matter if they're separated. It doesn't matter if, the dad is not involved and it was just a one night stand. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you guys brought someone in this world, and it's your responsibility, it's their responsibility to look out for the best appearance, behavior for their young people. And when they don't do it, then they're saying charge the parents with neglect and make them serve the time that the young people would get, but because of their age, they're not going to get. Brown or Cleveland, this is the argument that's going on now.
mm,
Yeah,
and
this is the argument that's
so
going on now.
that's it. It sounds good. It sounds it's
It's
it
the
sounds
argument that's going on now. This is the argument.
it sounds good. It and again, if we are going to address issues that of crimes, and this is one of the most egregious,
Mm-hmm.
but crime amongst our youth is kind of running rampant.
Kind of.
And well, it's running rampant.
Let's look at the
And
city of Cleveland. Look at the city of Cleveland, what's
so
going on
that's
right
what I'm
now.
saying. So this particular case with the 5-year-old is one of the most egregious. But let's be clear: crime is happening, and crime is happening amongst these youth. So when there is an opportunity for someone to be elected that would wanted to approach juvenile crime in a holistic way, not just we're gonna lock them up, we're gonna get them off the streets, because there's a cause and effect to everything. We didn't we didn't bite. We didn't bite on someone bold enough to be saying this is a different approach, because whatever we're doing is not working. All we're doing is feeding the prison system. That's all we're doing, which is all about money on the back end. But the accountability part, absolutely, I agree. But that whole let's get the daddy, the mama, I again, parents definitely need to be held accountable, but it definitely needs to be a comprehensive, holistic approach to solving that, not just we're going to address it from the the criminal aspect of it and not address it from the root cause of the poverty and literacy and all of these other things on top of this, and lead and all these contributing factors. And then at this again, all of it, because it's again a comprehensive thing that you're talking about when you're getting into, or even if it was just a one night stand, he living like that. It
Doesn't
needs,
matter. Doesn't
I
matter.
get
Doesn't
that,
matter.
and again,
Freddie, it doesn't matter.
that's a
It doesn't
blanket,
matter, Freddie.
that's a
It doesn't,
blanket,
Freddie,
that's a
Freddie, it doesn't
blanket
matter. It
approach.
doesn't matter. It
It
doesn't
has to
matter.
be more comprehensive.
Matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You brought an individual into this world. You talk about the root cause. The root cause is very simple is this.
Mhm.
You knew that when you did what you did, there was a possibility and a probability that something was going to happen. And that something is called pregnancy. You
That
knew that,
that's
right?
been here since
Okay.
before what?
Absolutely. So you made a decision to bring this individual into the world, your decision. And when you made
Mhm.
that decision, you also made an oath, be it that you know it or not, that this is your responsibility, he or she. And you were going to raise this individual the best way you possibly could. That's where it starts. Because here's what bothers me. This bothers me on social media because I watch a lot of videos. And what bothers me is when I'm scrolling and I see parents and they have their kids on social media and they allow their kids to cuss and act like they grown and act like they in gangs and do all this type of stuff, right? And everybody's laughing. You got people making comments talking about, well, it's just a video. They're just too. No, 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 no. That's the problem. The problem is this: we make excuses for people's behaviors. And then when it gets out of control and something like this happens, then everybody acts as though they're shocked. No, no. The cause was that you have allowed it.
But how long
Because
has this
I
been allowed? Is
listen, you're talking about 8, 9, and 10.
and but you're saying this person, these peoples, these two persons that procreated and made this child and brought this child into the world, and then so again,
I don't know what you've done.
a comprehensive approach to a very complex problem and a multi-layered problem.
Here's
Because
what
if the solution was just to incarcerate it away, we wouldn't have no problems, would we? If you
well,
just go,
here's what some criminologists mispronouncing that. This is what they're saying. They're saying the ones who are for. They're saying the reason why you implement those harsh penalties is because you want to keep the masses safe. And because the way juvenile court system runs, and even Mayor Bibb reflected on this I think it was last year, where he got so upset with our juvenile court judges because the more they get young people off the street and they take them to juvenile court in turns immediately send them home with their mamas or their daddies, or they send them to a program. And I'm not going to say the program is ineffective. That's something I won't say, because if you don't work the program, it's not going to work for you. But we are so program, therapy, 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 medication, medication, medication. And I hate to tell you this, Freddie, it's not working. It doesn't work. Why? For one, because people don't buy into the process. For two, if they don't buy into the process, the behaviors will not change. They won't be adjusted to where people are going to do positive things rather than negative things. And the other thing is, when I was a social worker, I was the first wraparound services worker, in Cuyahoga County under Judge Leotis Harris and Betty J. Rubin. What made wraparound services successful during that time is because the entire family had to be involved in the process, in the program. And if the family members would not be involved in the process of the program, then that individual cannot be involved and he or she was sent to an institution. That was the consequence. So, mama, daddy, sister, brother, uncle, auntie, whoever lived in that house, if you wanted him or her home, this is what you had to do. If somebody didn't, then he had to go. You don't see that anymore in juvenile court. What you see is that they show up, they'll have a PO there, the judge will harsh talk them. They'll say, if the next time I see you, Freddie, come in my courtroom, I'm going to send you away for 6 months. They come back and they go back home, Brown or Cleveland. So is this about keeping the community safe when we decide to send somebody away for a little bit? Or is this about just giving chance after chance after chance? And now people can't even walk down the street. They can't even park their cars because you know what's going on right now? You got young people out there breaking windows, crashing stuff, doing whatever hell they want to do. Here at the Huff Library over in Ward 7, somebody broke out the windows. Not just the windows, but the doors. I mean, what were you doing? Going in there to steal books? I doubt it because you probably can't read. And that's costing the systems hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
So, again, should young people be held accountable for their behavior? Does it
So,
depend on the crime that's committed? Because I think it has to fit. I think it has to fit.
mhm.
So if Jonathan has stolen a bike, I don't expect for him to get locked up. Sure don't. No, 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 no. But if he kills somebody, he got to pay the piper. Brown
So
or Cleveland. I'm just saying.
where is the wraparound approach to this problem? Where
Well, right.
is what we talking about the penalizing phase of it and what should be done on that aspect of it? But where is the wraparound service around the volume of people that are going through the justice center that it cannot hold them, and or you're gonna, I don't know. I
Know.
know the system is, I get it.
Yeah.
I absolutely get everything you're saying, but we are still trying, we're isolating the fix here
Mm-hmm.
and not looking at the entire system, the ecosystem of what's feeding this, because that is the deterrent, and what's been happening is not working, obviously.
Mm.
And I need the mayor to take the same kind of energy that he used in closing down clubs and saying, I'm gonna use every department to do it. I need that focus in on these youth,
Yeah.
because if I'm looking at it from the vision and the perspective of a 52-year-old woman, and I grew up in Cleveland, and it was not anything of what we see today until
Mm-hmm.
the intentionality of the crack epidemic happened to our community,
Yeah.
which we have yet to completely recover from.
Mm-hmm.
So then, so these kids, so again, but when I grew up, one thing about the wards that we lived in, and I grew up in Ward 5,
Mm-hmm.
it was impoverished, but in the summertime when school let out, before I was 14 to get a summer job, we had the Jesse Owens summer camp. We had all kind of stuff going on that kept us busy. When I turned 14, got my very first summer job. And when I say, unless you did not want one or your mama made too much money, everybody, we had the bus full, catching the bus, 2, 3 buses full of kids working summer jobs,
True.
learning work ethic,
We
kept
did.
us busy all summer.
We did.
But there is no, okay, and again, if we're going to look at the holistic approach, where is the investment in that because you're paying tenfold on the back end for not investing on the front end. So we're just like, okay, how do we, okay, let's lock it up. But then there's still going to be a whole generation right behind them because you're still
Hmm.
not addressing the root of the problem. And so I get people's frustration. These kids are out of fucking control. But again, their parents are coming from what and what, it's like this is a generational, and it's not this easy one step fix. Is
Oh
multi-layered. It's
no,
multi-layered.
I
So
don't think I don't think anybody's saying it's a one step fix because we know that that definitely isn't true. But at the end of the day, you gotta be consistent with whatever rules and methodologies you set forth. So what I'm saying is, if the system has a system where the punishment fits the crime and you're consistent across the board, there's no room for anybody, being vague. There's nothing there to say that something was not clear. The problem is people are not consistent at all. And I will agree with you on this level is when we were growing up, yeah, we had those summer jobs. We couldn't wait to go to work. We couldn't wait to buy our own school clothes. I don't know what great brain decided that that was not a useful tool, because a lot of things that used to happen, it was very useful to us. Even when they were doing carpentry, in school, we had things like that. You know, they don't do that. I studied in Paris, France when I was in school. I don't think they do that anymore, right? I'm not sure, but I don't think they do. So my thing is, I don't even know if there's something for them to look forward to. And I'm not making an excuse, but I will say this: a lot of grown folk, a lot of professional folk have messed up stuff that was workable. And for whatever reason, they decided that we don't need that anymore. Back in the mid 1990s, I was the violence prevention coordinator on 4 of CMHA's estates. And our numbers were so good that we actually reduced the crime and the unruliness on CMHA estates. But then some brain decided that, oh, we don't need that anymore because the issue is fixed. No, it's not fixed, because we had another, as you say, another group of young people that we needed to work with. Because the same young people that I work with when I was the coordinator over there are the young people that I see now who are doing very well. And they always say, Miss Brown, boy, you is something else. Well, that something else turned out to be that I was a good role model for them. And we had strict boundaries. And here again, the parents were involved. The young people were involved. The grandmas weren't involved. The granddads were involved. So it was a workable process. And the thing that gets me, Freddie, is that when things are working, it's always some brainiac who comes along and say, we don't need that. And as I got older, I realized that some of this stuff was by design to get rid of some things. Because you're right about this. Where does the wealth come from? Privatizing prisons, right? So there are a lot of things, but the unfortunate component of all of this is that some young people, not all, because we have more young people doing the right thing than the wrong thing, but you have some young people who buy into that process. And that's what we got to look out for. Brown on Cleveland, that's all I'm saying. I mean, should they
yeah.
be tried as adults? Should children be held accountable, young adults, for their behaviors? I think most times they should. But you gotta let the crime fit the consequence. Brown on Cleveland, that's all I'm saying. I'm gonna wrap this thing up.
All right. Because, and I'm going to just say this because I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just taboo or
Okay.
it's some unspoken stuff. And again, I'm going back to getting to the root of the problem and the
Okay.
comprehensive issue. Like, again, I think it's like I don't know when people become elected officials. I don't know if it's like a secret oath that they take in regards to the lottery. I swear, I don't know
So,
what it is about that you
mhm,
ask them about that they get real vague about all this money that flows through the lottery system, and then
mhm.
you, because again, I'm old enough to remember
Okay.
that when the lottery was introduced, it was supposed to help the schools. It was supposed to help the schools. That was the pitch, and lottery was played once a day. And it was like the pick three. I don't remember if it was the pick four. Kids could even play the lottery. It ain't matter. Like that's
Mhm,
how. But now you got the lottery going twice a day. The lottery has grown exponentially with
mhm.
scratch off and all this and that. So it's generating hella revenue,
Yes.
hella revenue, and you got casinos.
Mhm.
So I'm still confused on where we falling short at. But again, I don't know. Every time somebody you ask Lex, it is spread all over the counties. What? So, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
so I, so,
Trying to
I,
see what.
so that, I don't know what's going on with that, but
Yeah.
some,
I just
every.
think, yeah, I just think the priorities are just like, totally, totally messed up. Totally messed up. And you are right. You look at the front end, the back end is jacked up. It's something that I talked about last week with Brent Larkins of the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and he was talking about the Brown Stadium, and he would say, yeah, for 10 years from now, y'all gonna realize how much revenue you guys have really just given away, and your hands will always be stained, and because you had your dirty hands in a cookie jar. And it's because people, when they're making plans, some elected officials, they don't look at the overall forecast. They're looking at the here and now. Here and now is absolutely nothing. It's about what's coming forward. And that's the way you should look at life and live. Because today, hell, it ain't promised no way. But what's coming forward for the people that we leave behind when we're not here, if they don't have anything, it's going to get worse. And you gotta look at the financial forecast, all of the forecasts from a global perspective. And until that happens, nothing else will happen. Brown on Cleveland, anything else? Because I'm going to show you this video.
All right.
You want
Nothing
to check it out?
Yeah, but like, hey, nothing else. I know again, I feel like we living in the longest episode of the Twilight Zone ever. But at the end
Oh,
of the day, I feel like, I stand on the shoulders of some amazing people and forefathers and foremothers, and it's gonna be all right. And maybe that's the message at the end of the day, because with everything,
yeah,
somewhere along the line we dropped the baton and we
we
took our
did.
eyes off the prize.
All right,
So maybe that's the message.
here we go. Let's check this out because I got to show this off. Oh, no.
Shake your pom
Wait, where is it?
poms.
Here we go.
Shake, shake, shake. Kimberly F. Brown, she'll roll up on your hometown. She supports the good, but if you're doing wrong, you better watch yourself.
I'm trying to do this
If
snake.
you're cruel and full of spite, she'll shut you down. One wrong step and it's to the ground. She don't play nice with clowns. Brown, brown, brown. On Cleveland, she'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That dark brown, brown. shake your pom poms.
Okay. Okay. I like it. That's what's up. Oh, man. The
Man,
beat, the words.
man,
Okay.
I'm gonna play
That,
that at the clubs.
yeah, baby, listen to my
I'm a
hey.
DJ.
I'm telling you, that's your opening and your closing. That's what's up.
Yeah, man. Let's get
That's
up.
what's up. Beautiful. I love it. Whoever wrote it and
Yeah,
produced it and the music, the bass line,
yeah.
okay. I'm
Straight
not
from
mad.
Hollywood, baby girl. Straight from
I
Hollywood.
ain't mad. It definitely
Yeah.
it sounds professional. It's
I'm
very
on my
nice.
way to Hollywood. They say
Yes,
they
it
want
sounds
me. Listen, they say they want me for my haters. They say they want me on a reality show, and I'm on my
oh
way because I'm signing my
oh
contract. They're gonna be like, "How's she gonna reality show? Cause you all in my business."
oh wait.
All
I
right,
love
pretty.
it.
Yeah, let's get up out of here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
All
go.
right.
Gotta
Till next
go.
time. Live, love, laugh. Try to make a difference along the way. Peace.
All right, y'all. Hey, we're gonna keep it simple. Stay out of my business. Mind my business. I'm gonna mind your business. Tell a lie on me. I'ma tell the truth on you. Yeah, talk about me in private, damn it. You know, I'm gonna talk about you in public. Brown, 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 that damn brown on Cleveland. You guys have a great day. I will talk to you on Friday because the show is going to be hot. Say goodbye, Freddie.
Peace, everybody. Till next time.
Have a
Go
good
vote.
evening.
Go
Yeah,
vote.
brown, brown, brown. That damn brown on. He didn't even say